Sal is the original drummer for Typo Negative and Life of Agony. And for the past 10 years or so, he's been singing. He's been singing and playing guitar for a pale horse named Death. And they just released the fourth album named Infernum In Terra on Long Branch Records on September 24th. And Sal, you know, I say you've been singing and playing guitar, but you've been doing a lot more than that, haven't you, with Pale Horse Named Death?
Yeah, I'm like a man of many hats, but thank you for having me. How you doing? I have a black cat too. We're cat people here too. So I see your little guy.
Yeah.
He's got to be on camera.
Oh yeah, all the time, man. Every single time, man. This is Goblin. Yeah, my little goblin.
That's cute. That's cute.
He had a brother named Spooky, also black, you know. But we lost him. But
I'm sorry.
Since then, thank you. Yeah, since then, he's on camera every single time.
Well, that's his job. He's got a job to do.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Hey, this record, man, you play everything on this record, don't you?
Yeah. Well, the big secret is I played everything on every record.
Okay.
You know, with the exception of bass on the third album, you know, drums, rhythm guitars, melody guitars. I just don't do guitar solos. I'll leave that to someone that specializes in guitar solos. But to go back real quick, this band was never intended to be a live band. This was a studio project idea. This for the first album, you know. So and then it took on a life of its own. And then I had, you know, we got band members that played live shows because got signed, and one thing led to another, and then we started doing tours and shows. And but the bucket list for me with this record is I always had a production partner on every record before this. This album, I wanted to be certain to produce, engineer, mix, and record everything myself, because again, I like challenging myself and having like the spice of life. I don't want to be a one-trick pony all the time, and you know, the years slip away on us, and before you know it, yeah. You know, so I found like this newfound love of just doing everything, you know, production wise myself as well. So I've always been a multi-instrumentalist, and I've always played other stuff.
Right. Yeah, but it's got to be a pretty different than the Typo Negative experience and the Life of Agony experience.
It's just a drummer. Yeah, I was just a drummer, but I was an in the closet guitarist, bassist. Fool around, you know, if I saw a piano in the corner at a venue somewhere, I'd poke around and teach myself some chords. You know, I'm all self-taught, you know, so it's all my ear kind of stuff basically. But yes, in those bands, of course, I was known as a drummer, and I was a professional drummer, and I've been a drummer for almost 40 years now. And there's nothing more, you know, I'm very proud of all that. But again, I'm hungry. I was always hungry for more. And, you know, I got a little bit tired of the stereotypical reputation drummers would have in the business, where like, you know, we were just like, you know, meatheads behind the kid beating up the skins, you know, and I felt a little bit shortchanged with that, where I was like, well, wait a minute, I could do a lot of other stuff, you know. So I always wanted to experiment and push myself further, and then vocals and singing was like the next. That was my bucket list 12 years ago, where I was like, I got to do this on my own way, and you know, let's see what happens, you know.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. You know, you. It looks like you put down the sticks to play guitar and sing in front of band. You know, what was the decision to have that image at least?
Well, it has nothing to do with being a rock star. I had like some other projects going on in the early 2000s where I would deal with other singers. And so many people that say they're musicians are unreliable, have poor work ethic. And I got frustrated with that. Got tired of waiting for people, got tired of waiting for guys to do their job in the studio and lay their tracks down. I got tired of dealing with moody people, because I'm moody, and I have myself, I'm enough to deal with on my own. You know what I mean? For me. So I got kind of played out with all that. And then I wanted to just, again, that whole bucket list mentality. I want to do things my way, control things my way artistically, and the direction. And it has nothing to do with ego. It has nothing to do with being a rock star. This is purely a labor of love. This is just me feeling like, hey, when I'm dead, I'm going to leave behind an archive of music that people will be able to dig up in the future, hopefully. They can see what I was doing, or if they're into that genre of dark stuff, it will live on. Yeah. And it'll live on for my children too one day when they're old enough to really listen to it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's getting great response.
I'm really happy. I'm really happy. I was disappointed with the last record, but I kind of knew why things went the way it did with that record. So I that's why I got to work on this record so quickly. Also, I had fans writing to me that they were a little bit, they're like, I can't hear your vocals, or the production sounds different. What's with the mix? That kind of thing. So I wanted to present another album where I wrote everything fresh during the pandemic and record everything and do everything the way I really wanted to hear it come out. Yeah. And I had to be alone to do that. And, I worked hand in hand in the end with my mastering engineer, Maor Applebaum, who's in LA, and he mastered the final mixes. He kind of went back and forth with me a bunch of times as I sent them references, and we ended up doing 2 different mixes before we went into the final master. And he's really ended up becoming a friend of mine. We worked with him in the previous record, but I didn't have too much one-on-one with him as I wasn't mixing the last record. Very cool guy. He had a lot of great advice also for me, and the way he finished this record off the way we envisioned it was awesome, because he ran it through a lot of analog equipment to get that old world kind of sound, that warmth, like, because he felt it sounded like a record that would have came out in the end of the 70s, or early 80s, so because, as you know, today everybody works in digital format, and digital format can be very brittle and soulless and have no depth of warmth. Analog equipment gives you that, and recording onto analog tape would give you that. But again, we get the best of both worlds now, and that's why you have someone like Maor Applebaum that has all this specialty mastering equipment that is specialized specifically to do that kind of stuff. That's the payoff. Yeah.
And that's not the first time I've heard great things about him. I just did an interview with Mark Slaughter, he did Mark's project that he has with one of his albums that just came out, and he mastered the whole thing, and he had nothing but great things to say.
Good guy.
It changed everything for him. So yeah, it pays to have the pros doing this stuff, that know what they're doing and have the equipment, and that's great to hear, man. Great to hear. This one sounds a little bit slower and heavier to me. There's a little more keyboard maybe and percussion to this one. Did you have anything particular going into it before you started on it? Was there anything in particular that you really wanted to accomplish that you didn't with some of the other records maybe?
Well, on this record, for example, you'll hear a lot of sometimes more prevalent than others, like a lot of hidden orchestral bells, tubular bells, things like that. I wanted to I brought in more piano, and you will hear sometimes the piano by itself, but there's also a lot of piano underneath the heavy parts, because people don't realize that piano actually can make heavy guitars sound heavier. And it basically, I'm sorry, I just got a text that interrupted me. So I wanted to have more of these elements present. I wanted to lean towards being darker. I wanted to be more satanic. I wanted to be more shock and awe with some stuff. I take great pride in the soundscapes I'm really proud of, because I really wanted to give the listener a sense of being in that environment, like they're there and there's this crazy ritual stuff going on around them. I even brought in I think there was like one song like Slave to the Master. There's a little bit of a low choir thing going on underneath everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm going more as I get older, I'm slower.
Yeah. And it's, well, it's a, they call it doom metal and stuff. Everybody's got a box for everything, but it's, Sabbath is, the big part of the Holy Trinity for me.
Exactly.
Sabbath is, invented this stuff that we cherish so much. But it's, slow is heavy. This is a heavy record, without being, the thrashy kind of heavy. This is a heavy sledgehammer type of record.
That's the heavy I'm into.
Yeah, it's great. And
Thank you.
that low hum, that drone of, I hear that choir and I hear those bells, and it's just haunting. It's great, man. I sink into it. It's fantastic. Where does that come from for you? Do you read a lot of occult or something like that, or movies, or is it like?
I do research every now and then yeah, I've watched a lot of movies. A lot of times movies will put some kind of image in my head. I've got books and things too, or I'll research things online and read about them. I have a very it's very visual in my mind. So when I get into that kind of zone and I start like really brainstorming, it's like a movie playing out before my eyes, and I'm hearing the stuff, and then, oh well, why don't we add this? How will let me do a different, let me add this pattern on top of that pattern with this bell or that or whatever it is, and I just go on a roll. And like I've told other journalists, I don't have a set formula. I just know what's good, and I don't beat myself up over anything like, oh, I got to write a great song today. If it's meant to be that I got to walk away for a while, then I walk away, and then I come back, open things up, and I get re-inspired. Like if I don't listen to a part or a couple of parts of an arrangement for a few months or a month, I come back to it, I'll hear something completely different, and that's the beauty in walking away. Your ears are fresh, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, why didn't I think of this then? And so you get re-inspired by a part that may have been, or a piece of music that may have been not ready that day when you came up with it.
Mhm.
And then there's times like there's a bunch of songs on this record that were written literally between October and November of 2020 that they just came out in like 5 minutes, like, the 2-3 parts and the rough melody would happen right then and there, like Shards of Glass or Reflections of the Dead. Reflections of the Dead was just, I just picked up my guitar and just started playing. Like I just turned on the amp and just started playing, and those 2 parts came out of me. I was like, oh shit, that's heavy. Okay, let's, and so that's like Reflections of the Dead, which was the last song I did on the record, is probably the precursor to maybe later on, like there'll be more stuff like in that direction. But again, I'm not a boring artist. Like I'm not going to do the same thing over and over. Sometimes I'll come up with something that sounds a little more poppy or more, I call it doom pop, that has the catchy melody hook, kind of thing going on.
Right.
So I just do what I do. There's
Yeah.
there's no real rhyme or reason. It's just madness at times. And it's a mood thing. I have to be in the right mood. So I'll wake up and be like, nah, today's not a good day. I'm going to go in the garage instead. That's what, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Do we get this record the same way if COVID never hit? Did COVID change the shape of this record a little bit?
I don't know, because I was going to do everything the way I did it anyway. The studio's in my house. So I had Joe and Eddie send me their guitar solos via FTP after I sent them the raw tracks of where I wanted the solo. So they would work on it on their end, and they would record a raw mono track on their digital system and then send it to me. And then we would do the sound here and the embellishment here. I mean, I think it would have came pretty much the way it came, because I'm not talking about COVID on the record. I'm not writing about COVID.
Right.
But what happened was I started sketching these ideas in January, February 2020. I was like, I want to do a new record. Okay, let's jam, record some ideas. Sometimes I'll just record some parts over a metronome and then leave it alone, right? And then March, we got locked down. In the end, March 18th, we got shut down. We got told we needed to flatten the curve for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned into 2 years almost.
Yeah.
And so I did a bunch of stuff. And then I kind of was like, okay, let me leave it alone, whatever. And then spring and the summer comes, and that changes the dynamics of everything for me, because I have 3 acres. All of a sudden I got to deal with property work, cleanup.
Right.
Nobody wants, it's hard to always write miserable songs during barbecue season and summertime with the bright sun. I'm really a fall to winter kind of guy. So when the fall came of 2020, started in September, like opening things up again. I literally took like 3-4 months off because I was busy working on a car I got. And I said, okay, let's open everything up. And then all of a sudden all this stuff started falling out. This renewed inspiration again came out. So I said, you know what? I think I can wrap this up. And so I contacted my A&R guy at the label. I said, look, I've been working on another record. If we want to put it out, what is your ideal time frame of when you want to put it out, and when do you want the delivery to be? Because they want time to set things up and work. So he was like, look, if you can deliver by April 1st, we probably can shoot for September 2021.
There you go.
I was like, okay, no problem. And that's what I did. I spent the holidays doing vocals, finishing up the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Until January, and then February mixing. I spent the whole month mixing into March, and then that's when I started sending more stuff to Maor, and then I sent them, the first mix, and then we did another mix, and he had it mastered and done by like the 3rd week of March. So we actually we were ahead of schedule anyway.
Yeah.
So and the label, they don't know it. They thought it was great, but again, they don't know, because they get a record, they don't know if it's going to bomb or do great, but I have a lot of faith. They know me for 10 years now, so they kind of trust me that I just do what I do. Yeah. So they thought it was a great job, but they've been really pleased with the uplifting response that's been going on in the last, really since when the video, since the first single came out in May, when Believe in Something came out, the response was really good, because it's a little bit of a different vibe, that song.
It is, yeah.
Out of the norm of the previous three records, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was good. I felt like it was a good 1-2 punch to wake people up and say, look, if this band wanted to be chugga kind of heavy, we could, but it's just not but that song just really fit in well with what was going on. And I thought it added a nice little dynamic with all the other material. And then Shards of Glass came out, and a lot of people loved it. And so it was just this cool buildup. And then when Reflections of the Dead came out with a video in August, I can't believe that song has been, that video's only been out for barely a month, and it's like 130,000 views already. And it seems to be doing really good. And I'm very, very, very happy about that. As an artist, the worst thing we can have is rejection. So you always fear that.
Right.
So I can't complain. In fact, it's inspired me to I've been recording some small ideas again and futzing around because I want to make another record. So.
Man, that's great news. The video is phenomenal. It's just so good. It's really, really.
It was filmed by a director named Joel Nilsson. He was the director that did the previous video for Fell in My Hole on the previous records. Mm-hmm. So he's based in Sweden. So that video was filmed with Swedish actors and in the forests of Sweden outside of Gothenburg.
Wow.
And then obviously the bathtub scenes were done in an apartment in Gothenburg. So it was all done in Sweden. Wow. I really wanted to go over there, but COVID kind of made things complicated also to get over there. And I can't be bothered with all this testing bullshit. You got to test the day before to get on a plane, and I'm vaccinated, but that just doesn't seem to be enough anymore.
Nope, doesn't seem to be. But yeah, no, that video is something. It really is. It's just a stellar job. I mean,
Thank you.
it fits the song so well, and it's dark and brooding, and it's crystal clear. That's the first thing I noticed about it, is it's just so sharp. The
Yeah,
colors are so vibrant. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful
thank
thing.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did great.
Now I know you got a song about being under anesthesia on this record. This song's a little bit more personal to you, and this album seems a little bit more personal on a personal level for you. Lyrically, it seems to be, you know, you seem to be really attached a bit more to this one lyrically, as a listener. Two-headed snake, tell me inspiration for that one. I'm really curious.
You want to know?
Yeah, I need to know that, man.
Well, it's Two-Headed Snake, Propofol Dreams. It was about my experience of being under anesthesia when I got my colonoscopy in
Okay.
it was December 2020. And I they put me on this stuff called propofol, and it felt like I slept for 3 days, and it was just incredible. And when they woke me up, I was like, how long have I been asleep? And they're like, oh, you've only been out for like 18 minutes. I'm like, 18 minutes? I feel like I slept for like 3 days. This is the best sleep I ever had. And then the story goes that I end up finding out that was the drug that Michael Jackson was having his doctor administer every night so he could sleep. That was the drug that he ended up overdosing on. I don't
Yeah,
blame
that
him.
happens.
I don't blame him for
Yeah.
doing it, because I'll tell you, I never sleep straight through the night to begin with, and so I can understand why you'd want to take that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was, and so then I did a spin-off. Of course, you know, like I'm sober now, but I've done everything under the sun at one time or another. So I did a spin-off of, you know, this pretty psychedelic kind of vibe lyrically, and you know, I was like, well, you know, Propofol Dreams. The word Two-Headed Snake is nowhere in the song.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, I've been right. I think it opens it, the first line, it opens with it, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I don't remember hearing it much.
No,
if at
anyway,
all.
I'm having a blank moment. I'm having a blonde moment. But it just came out that way. And the lyrics, there's no set rhyme or reason. There's no logic behind it. It's just like just an inebriated type of like getting real high type of song, whatever your drug of preference is. And I just had some fun with it, and I didn't want to like pigeonhole it anywhere. But at the same time, the riff and the music and everything else was so awesome that it was just really easy to do all of that. And I just wanted to have a song that was kind of off the cuff like that, not about personal depression, not about anything religious or, you know, sacrilegious. And I just went with it. I gotta look it up now. Wait, I gotta open up my lyric.
The lyric, you know, I don't think it is.
I'm gonna tell you right now, dude. Hold on a second, because now you got my mind. You got my mind going.
If it is,
you know, it's hard. Yeah. Oh, it does open. I'm right. It does. I've been riding a two-headed snake. You know, she's been good to me, riding on a magic carpet ride. Watch me write your name in the sky, and we get so high.
Yeah.
It's just nonsense. It really is. It's just druggy induced, you know, drug induced nonsense that I just had fun with.
I love it though, man. You hear the magic carpet ride and stuff like that. It has, like you say, it's the drug influence kind of. You know, it's a cool.
I've been flying on the end of a jet stream. You know,
it's a cool tune, man. I really dig that tune. That's a great story. The inspiration behind it, man.
Colonoscopy.
I had carpal tunnel on my wrists, and they did like a half thing, kind of like that. It might have been propofol. And I was, you know, in this dream states, but I was still there. And I had this conversation on the first one anyway, the conversation with the anesthesiologist, and they had music playing. We had a full conversation about Janis Joplin. They had me and Bobby McGee playing, and I was, I had a full conversation about Janis Joplin. Now I'm foggy with it and everything, but it was the coolest feeling, man. And it felt like you say, it felt like hours of just dreamscape.
Yeah,
And
and
it was like
relaxing.
20 minutes, it's like that was cool. Let's do that again.
Make it legal.
Yeah. Shoot. Um Life of Agony. I want to go to Life of Agony. And when you pick up vocals, now you started with Keith, obviously, in Life of Agony. Keith transitions to Mina. Great singer. Did you refer to Mina at all when you took over vocals? I've heard in other
Yeah, I mean,
areas.
honestly, I as a vocalist, I looked up to her, and she gave me pointers, and in the very beginning, she gave me some pointers, she gave me advice, so I definitely took that seriously, give me advice on the warm-ups, things like that.
Mhm.
So for sure, despite whatever happened later on, I mean, I still, um, I owe a bit of gratitude for embracing my courage to want to sing, and gave me some pointers, and she dug it. I mean, and on the first album, she did harmonies on the first album.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I know
So
it. That's what I thought. Yeah, and
like appeared on like 4 songs doing harmonies. So I mean, things weren't always bad between us,
right,
you
right.
know.
Oh yeah, obviously. I mean, you spent a long time in that band, and she's a great singer, a really great singer. Would you ever consider doing that again? Yeah, there were 2 splits in Life of Agony. I mean, it was like, join the band, leave the band, join the band, leave the band. There was some, dynamic to that.
Consider what, like play with them?
Yeah, if that opportunity came up again.
I don't know. I think there was like some damaging things that were done. So I don't know how it would be reconciled. I'm always one for like, I'll sit at a table and look at you in the face, and hear you tell me what I did, and I'll tell you what I think you did. But I learned one thing in my life, because there was a time where I said back in the 90s, never again. And then sure enough, I got back together with them. So I don't know though. I think things may, only the universe knows. It's hard to say. You can't say never again. It's because never say never again, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. They got a nice young girl drummer now. I
Yeah.
mean, she's okay.
Hmm.
Don't hit like me, but she's
Yeah.
doing a job, and looks like she's kind of like a hired gun now in that band. And maybe that's what they wanted. I had a big slice of the pie when I was in it. So I don't know.
Yeah. 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 It's good to see you doing your thing, and you're happy doing your thing, and it's successful.
It's a labor of love. I got to
Yeah.
do a lot of other hats to take care of my family. There's not a whole lot of money in this business anymore, let alone for a mediocre sized band. But I'm I'm an artist that, as I'm getting older, I feel like fine wine. I just get better and better at doing this. I like composing. I enjoy writing music. Yes, I could sit. Maybe the right person asks me to play drums, I'll do that one day too. But I've never had that situation cross paths with me. So I'm not going to say never again. I might be like, maybe when I'm 65, I might pick up the sticks again and play in a lounge act. I don't know. I'm not against playing drums at all. It's just when you're older, there's less time and to do everything. So I can't be in too many bands or anything like that. Just doesn't seem feasible for me unless it was financially worth my time. But I'm taking it one day at a time, where I consider it a blessing to be able to put out a new record in this day and age. I consider it a blessing that a record company likes what I do and they want to put it out, and they invest this extra stuff in publicity and all this promotion. And this is all good stuff. And I mean, this is stuff that young kids die for, would die to get the opportunity to do. But again, when you're young, you don't have the same kind of knowledge or experience to be able to maybe make things happen also and make things of a higher quality. So everything comes with time. So even though I'm getting older, I feel like I'm getting better as a composer and lyricist and musician overall, like an all-around multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to see you doing all of that, man, and it's great to see you happy. You know what I mean? You're doing what you love doing. You know, so many people will go back and take the drummer spot, which would be yours, in a band that they really kind of not sure they want to even be in. You know, be happy, be you. You know, if you can do it, definitely, man. It comes through in the music too. This is not that it's a happy record. It is not a
No,
happy record.
but that's how you find, you need to find light. You got to go through the darkness, and everything is a balance, and the universe is a yin yang, black and white, God, the devil. It all is balance that is required,
Yeah,
to moderate everything.
yeah, that's cool. Hey, you gonna come see me in Chicago, man? You got a tour at all?
The only discussions that there's gone on is maybe summer 2022 to see if we may do some festivals in Europe. Maybe we'll do a week in the States. Things change every day with these restrictions.
Yeah,
I heard now the IRS is going to want to know what you do with anything that's $600 and over at the bank. So that's pissing me off too.
no way. Jeez.
But without getting political, the situation is changing all the time. I'm not too psyched about getting into a hot, steamy club either with this situation where even being vaccinated, even though it keeps you out of the hospital, I don't want to really get sick. I don't want to bring it home. I don't want to get anybody else sick. So things are, I see some bands courageously going out there and doing it, and masses of people getting together and doing that. But my question is what's the repercussion?
Yeah.
I mean, you got like folks like Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley that kind of fell out of the,
yeah.
We haven't heard anything about those guys. They came down with it, and that was the last I heard.
Yeah.
So, and they're not young. So we have to, I think the whole country needs to find its way out of this darkness. And this country needs to find light, because things have gotten way too retarded.
It's
way too political. People
Mhm.
are losing jobs and careers over this politics stuff.
Yep.
This cancel culture is stupid. It's out of control. People should be allowed to disagree and have an adult debate and move on. Not, oh, you don't like this guy, or you're not in my party, I'm going to destroy your life. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. It's wrong what's going on, and I don't know what the cure is, but we're living in the American dream is dead as far as I can see it.
Yeah.
And they're killing it every minute of the day right now. And for some reason we have people out there that just hate America and are anti-America, which is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And like you say, I don't know what the solution to that is. But I think it starts with the kids, building a different culture than what we're building with this political thing. And it's
brainwashed.
Yeah.
Being taught to hate their own country.
It's not good. And I look at that. I got kids, they're not that young,
True.
21, 24. And I'm looking at the future. We're gonna have domestic terrorism. A lot of it. It seems that way anyway. And that's a scary thing. We got enough terrorists outside of the country. To have our own people turning against us is a scary thing. But
well, I hope to see you though, and thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
Send me the link. Send me. We want to share all this good stuff.
Absolutely. It's been great, man. It's been great.
Say hi, bye to Goblin for me. He's right there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. Uh, hey, if you don't get the tour, best of luck to you with the record and the next record you're writing. Uh,
Yeah.
you know,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I'd love to see you here in Chicago, man. Think about me if you're doing a
Likewise.
tour, getting a tour itinerary going, make sure you hit Chicago, man.
Oh, I've always, I'm friends also with Scott Davidson out there in
Oh,
Chicago, and
yeah, yeah, Rebel Radio.
he's a good guy too. Rebel
He
Radio, he's a
is.
big supporter of the band. So,
Yeah.
absolutely, Scott. I
Yeah.
got to get going though. It's
All
six
right.
minutes after 1.
All right.
Thank you so much, and stay in touch. And you know how to find me on the socials.
Yep.
Please stay in touch. Send me whatever links you got, and anything you ever want to talk again. More than happy to do it with you. You can set it up, no problem.
Love it, man. Thanks so
You
much.
know, because sometimes a half hour is not enough.
Yeah, yeah,
You
it's
know,
rough. It's rough.
it's yeah. So
Yeah,
if you
and
want
you've
to
been
do a
doing
part
this.
two,
You've
let me
been doing this a
know.
long time, man. You got a lot to talk about for sure.
Yeah, I mean, let me or John know if you want to do a part two. I'd be more than happy to schedule more. No problem.
Fantastic, man. Love you,
Okay,
Sal. Best of
love you
luck.
too. Thank you, and God
Thanks,
bless. Be
man.
safe.
You
Bye
too,
bye.
man. Bye.
Bye.